Hi guys, so you're welcome to this wonderful project, Python classes and objects. It's a long project, so I just decided to redo all the projects that I've not done. So I think this is where we stopped, and we'll be doing this project today. It's an introduction to object-oriented programming, which is OOP, and it's a very interesting and wonderful new concept that you should know, and it would be very useful because in Airbnb console it's the major or the backbone of that project. Okay, so it's basically nice that you know this one or you do this one. So these are videos. I would like you to start from this last video. Watch this, know about getter and setters, and then read these two concepts. Okay, so basically that's it, and let's go into the tasks. So first we have some quiz. So it says in this following code, what is user? We have a class user. So user is a class. So we'll say it is a class, and then we'll scroll down. So the next one says, what does this line print? So we have a dot is new, right? U dot is new, right? So we've initialized you to be an instance of the class user. Okay. So um U dot is new. If you look at U dot is new is true, yeah. So majorly is gonna be true. And the reason is because U dot is true, yeah. I think that's just it. And then if we look at this one, what does this line print? So we have U dot name. If you look at name, name is no name, so it's gonna be no name. U dot name is gonna be no name. So that's a what does this line print? So we have U dot ID, it's going to be 89. 89. So in this code, what is w dash dash password is a private is a class attribute, is a private class attribute, a private class attribute. It's private because of the two double underscore. It's a class attribute because it is under this class, right? Not under this in its instance attribute. Okay. So in the following code, what is new? Is new. Where is this new? Is new is a public. It's going to be a public instance attribute. A public instance attribute. In this following code, what is ID? ID is a normal public class attribute. And then what did this line print? U dot name. You have U dot name, no name. U dot name should be no name as well. But let's see. We could have U dot name here and new name. New name is true. No, no. I think no name. Let's submit. I think we had this one twice. Yeah. Let me see. Is it this one that is wrong? Okay, no name. So it's the other one, the other no name that is wrong. Where is it? Yeah, this one. Let's see U dot name. Let's see U dot name. Should it be? Shouldn't if it is served as name? Yeah, new name. And what is new name? New name is none. Is John. So this one supposed to be John there. Let's see. I'm waiting for that to work. While that is loading, I'll come here and clean this place. What's going on with this one? Why is my stuff hanging? Everything is just hanging. It's taking time. The LS is taking time to load. This one is taking time to load. What is wrong? So the first one is to create this repository inside our ALX high level programming. So create this directory rather. Why is this thing taking my time? Please work in the name of Jesus. So make directory. We have this directory, and then I'll cd into that directory. Good. So now I would create a readme. So I can just echo this into a readme. So I've created a readme for that. So the first task, we're going to create this file 0 square.py, and I'll say vi this. Okay. Something we should take into consideration is documentation. Whenever we're writing a piece of code for OOP, we need to document, because documentation also helps us in trying to know how the object is being used. Okay. I don't know why this thing is seriously hanging, but we said write an empty class. So we're going to write a class square. Remember, it has to start with the capital letter class square that defines a square. You're not allowed to import anybody. Just write a class square. That's all. So uh, that's all, in the sense that they now run a script, right? And the created is instance my square, and then they print the type of my square, and it says that it is a dictionary. And then when they execute, they said you should print my square rather, so it's not a dictionary. So type of my square is a class, and my square dot dictionary just printed this thing showing that there's nothing inside. Okay, so this one now I will shebang bin, is it bin bash python 3 user bin python 3. I said bin bash user binary python 3. Okay, so basically that would be this. Then we would write our dot string, like I said, 3, and then we should define a square class. I don't know why this is not working. So we have to put two spaces, 1 2, and then the third line would be where would define our class. My stuff is seriously hanging. My network has even disconnected as well. What's going on here? Why is everything just falling apart? Maybe I'll just restart my system and continue again. But anyway, let me see if I can finish this one. So we'll add a class which is square, and we can end it this way. So we need to document this as well. So we'll say a representation of a square class, right? And then a basic what's it called, OOP would require one line, and then we can just hit pass, saying that we just created the whole object, right? And that's all. So ls, good. So I can just change the mode for this 755, though I'm not executing it, but let me just do that. 0 square. So I don't know why this is seriously hanging. I think I'll have to after I finish this one, I'll have to restart my system or find a solution to it. Okay, so this guy is disconnected. It's connected, but it's normal thing that it does. It's connected, but it says no internet while I have internet. So it's the normal grammar. I'm used to it already. So I will test it. We'll create a 0 main.py, copy this code, test it to see if we would get the same thing. So 0 main.py. So copy this up to this point. Copy. So create a 0 main.py. So that's loading. Let's see if we can still connect. Can't you just connect? Okay, connecting. So let's paste it. Why is it pressing one by one? For God's sake. I think that's all for now. I don't know why it's taking time. So ch mode 7550 main dot py. So if we execute our 0 main dot py, we should have this class and this. So that's what the output should be, and that's what we had. So I think we connected back. So ls. So I just want to git add my um square zero square since and my readme. Okay, and then I'll git commit, then I'll say a square class. Is my git commit correct? And then I'll git push. It's slow, kind of slow. So if that worked, then we'd have to just check our code and see. My network is slow, my system is hanging, so I'm so sorry for the delay. You can put it on times 1.5 or times 2 the speed, so it won't waste your time. So we can't test now because it hasn't pushed the code to GitHub yet. So okay, it's just pushing. So let us try. Though we are supposed to actually check if our code is PEP 8 compliant. So I can use my Flick 8 0 square. Oh, it worked already. So I think we didn't have any error. So let me just close this and ask for correction. And maybe I should just find solution before I continue on task 1, or maybe I should just continue. I don't know because this one is still even loading. Okay, let me just find solution and I will continue back. So thank you. Um, let's continue. We go to the next task, which says write a class square that defines a square based on square.py. So it's good to have all these things. And why size is private attribute. We said we should private instance attribute size, and then instance with size, no type of valuation. You're not allowed to import any modules. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this guy. Okay, so I'll copy it, paste it here, and I will say I'm going to cut or I'll copy my zero square dot py and name it one square dot py. So now I have my one square dot py. So because I want to create my one square dot py based on zero square dot py, that's why I did this. And now let's see what we are told to do. So the first thing is we are told that the private instance attribute size that divide is code based on this with private instance attribute called instance attribute. So since it's instance attribute, so we are going to have the init. So I'll come down here and remove this pass. So define. So fine. Let me go down and then I'll define my init instance, and then I'll have self comma. So if you look at it, it has one argument, right, and a private instance attribute size. So it's going to have instantiation with size. So we have an instantiation with size, right? And then we'll end this like this. So don't forget, we need to document this as well. So instantation with size for our our um, object initialization, and I think that's it, and I'll end it that way. So now what do we need to do now? So we need to give it a private instant attribute size. Okay, so um we'll say self dot, we're not supposed to put size, but because it's private, we put double underscore and size, and that will initialize it with with the size that we put. This size, okay, would have this private instance attribute, and we give it size. I think that's all we need to do here. And so, hey, sorry. So if I run flake 8 for 1 square, so it should tell us that it's okay. So we can test our code. Okay, so blank line contain white space at 7 1. So let's go back into the 7 1. So this 7, yes, there's white space here. Okay, I think we're done. Let's test that. So one main.py, we can copy all this and test it. So vi one main.py, and then I'll paste all that. I don't know why it's taking long to post all this. Okay. I think these guys are not placed well. That's why I prefer to use Emacs. Except, and then we print this. I think this is how it is, and this one needs to be here. This one needs to be here. What else are we missing? I think that's all. So chmod plus x one main. So execute one main. So we have all that, and as no attributes. Yes, I think that's out. My light is off, so I want to be as fast as possible. So let me git add the 1 square .py and git commit the square with a private instance attribute, right? And then we'll push it. It hasn't pushed anyway, so I might still have a failure because it hasn't pushed yet. What's going on? Is my network disconnected? I'm sure this one will not work. Couldn't resolve hosts. What's going on? What's going on? Failed to connect. So what's going on? My network is nice, right? My network is good. I'm trying to check my network if it's working, and it's working fine. My network is working fine. So, mm, that is. So we have this. It, I think I need to connect gauge push. Why is it not pushing? As our access token expired, it's either our access token has expired or our network is bad. So one of the two is causing this issue. Let me see this guy over here. So I opened another window to try it there. If it's that window issue, another shell. I don't know what's wrong. I obviously don't know what is wrong. Okay, I think this one has finally pushed, and I don't know, this one is still wasting time. The network is just bad today, so let us recheck. And good. So I don't know, maybe I'll need to even restop it or continue. So write a class square that divides a square based on one. So we still want to continue with that one and build up on it. And it's going to be 2 squared of py. Okay, so I would just copy 1 square dot py, and I'll copy it and name it 2 squared dot py. Okay, good. So I'll vi my 2 squared dot py, and then let me check if this one has worked. It's still checking. So write a class square that defines a square based on one. So it's going to have a private instance attribute size. That's what it has before. It already has a private instance attribute size. Okay, so this one has worked. And then after that, it's going to have with optional size define in it self size. So size with optional. So this one would be okay. They've even given us this one, that the size should be initialized with 0, right? So we're given that the size should be initialized with 0, and so I'll just come here. So we said the size should be initialized with 0, and then we said what else? The size must be an integer, otherwise raise a type error. So we'll say they said we should now, this where we're now checking to make sure the size is an integer. Okay, so we'll then say if not is instance, that is if the one, we'll use the one at the right, which is size, which is probably a number given to us, is not an integer. Okay, if it is not an integer, so we can use the type as well, that if the type of size is not equal to int, we can use that, or we use this. If it is, we should raise a type error. We should raise a type error that what? Let me copy it. Size must be an integer. Yes, so we'll do that. So I'll come down. Else, if the size is less than 0, if the size is less than 0, we'll raise a value error. Raise a value error and say what? Uh, Size must be greater than or equal to 0, this, and then we'll leave our attributes there. Yes, so what we just did was we initialize our size to be 0, okay, which is defaultly. But when a value has been passed to size like this 3, now size is now 3. But we would just want to make sure that whatever is passed is an integer, not a float, not a string, or not a list, or not a dictionary, or not a set, or whatever it may be. So what we want to do now is we'll then say that, okay, if the type of the size is not an int, it should raise this error. If it is less than 0, so it has to be a positive integer. So it's say it has to be greater than or equal to 0. Then we'll still initialize it at the end. So it's going to come here and try, like once we declare this guy, it's going to try and execute this function or this init method. Yeah, sorry, a call came in and disrupt my video. So basically that's it, and we're just trying to make sure that we don't pass in a wrong data type to this size. Okay, so you should raise any error before it assign it to this guy over here, and that's what we just want to do over here. So let me do flake 8 2 square. So I think that should be nice and okay. So create this 2 main.py. 2 main.py, copy. So vi 2 main.py and paste that. So this thing is stressing me out. Let me just put it. So emacs 2 main.py. The emacs I have is the app, so it's just going to try and open the app and do that. So pending that time, let me just push it and run it. So we can then git add 2 square and git commit validation and git push. So I think that's what we want to do here. So this worked, and we can test the code while the Emacs is still working. So it worked. So maybe no need to even test it again. So let's go to the next one, which is 3. So write a class square that defines a square based on, so you can test it yourself, based on 2 squares. So we'll still do the same thing. I'll copy this. Emacs has opened already, but we've removed that from the buffer. Let me just minimize the Emacs and Ctrl C. Ctrl C. So close the Emacs like that. So I'm going to copy 2 into 3 square. Copy, paste. So we are our 3 square. So now we want to add more things to it. So now If you look at it, we're told that that is square, right? A private size, and that's this size, right? And then we have this guy. Size must be an integer. Otherwise, raise the type error exception. That should raise this, right? If size is less than zero, we've done all this, must be this. So we'll create a public instance method, a method. So define area self. So we're going to create this method now. So I'm just going to come down and create a new space here and then paste this. So up a tab. So we need to document it. And I'll say public instance method return the method that returns the current square area. Method that returns current square area. And then what are we going to do next? So we need to return the square area. What is the area of a square? Which is size times size, right? That's length times breadth. So it's going to return what is the size. That's self dot size, but it's a private attribute, so we use the privacy times self dot underscore size, and that is that for this. So ls flake 83, right? So git add 3, git commit message, add area, and then we push it. So push it and check our code to see if it works. So it worked, and let's ask for correction here. Ask for correction here. So now the next one is based on 3, we want to create 4. So here we are creating getter and setter. Okay, good. So I'll just copy 3 and give it 4 and vi into 4, right? So what are the instructions? We are told to create this. We've done up to this place, right, which is here. We've done area. So so this is what we want to do. Instantation with optional. So we have a size, right? So we have a size with optional. Define init self size 0. So wait, okay, no, we've done this one, we've done this one, we've done this one, we've done these ones, right? So we need to do this guy. Size must be an integer. So it's this one, property and property setter. So private instant attribute size. So we have to have a private instant attribute size, right? So we want to set a getter and a setter. Size is a private attribute. We did not make sure we did that to make sure we control the type and value getter and setter method. I'm not 100% Python, but more OOP. With them, you'll be able to validate the assignment of a private attribute and also define how getting the attribute value would be available from outside. So we need to get for this size, since it's a private attribute, right? It's a private attribute. We can set more options to it. That is, we can validate the size, just like we did a bit here. We can do more with getter and setter. So the first thing we do is after the init, What I'll do is I'll just remove this. mm, okay, I think what I'll do is I'll leave this. Let me copy this, or okay, so I would initialize this with this. Okay, and so we did what is in first one, where we initialize our setter, our private instance attributes, our private attributes. Now we want to set a getter, right? A getter for this size, just like we did here, but we are using function now. We are using this property attributes as the getter and setter. So getter is like go get it, and setter is like set it to a specific taste that you want. Okay, so what we'll do is I would put a line, and then I would initialize it and say, so this is the getter for the private attributes, for the private attribute size. So to get set getter, we say at property, then we'll say the define, want to get set getter for size, and then it's going to have self. Okay, so let me put this one down. Good. So what we then do is we say that it should return this to the setter. It should return self dot size to the setter, and then we need to still document this and say um property getter, property getter. Okay, so we'll set this property getter, and we'll get set the property setter as well. This one is supposed to be outside. Yeah, it's supposed to be here. Supposed to be here. Supposed to be here. Yes, so we set our property setter. So we'll say size dot setter, and then define size, and it's going to have self, comma, and the value. So basically that's how we do it, and then this value is what value size is, like the value of size. Okay, so we'll document it as well, and we'll say the setter property, or property setter. Okay, so what we want to do now is that is where we now set it to be this. So this one will be under the property setter. So we are now trying to set it. So what we did here now is that we set the, like, what size, that it should not be less than 0, and it should be int. We set it inside here before, but there's a property setter and getter that is meant for it. So that's what so this one is just meant for initialization, and then we use property getter to get what we want to set. So this one will go get the size that okay we want to set for the size. Then setter would then start setting for the size that okay that if it is not this it should raise this blah blah blah. And then at the end of the day, instead of this place to be size, we'll give this place to be value because that's what is there. Okay, and I think that's all we need so far. So self dot size is what we're still working with, but we'll be giving it the value, and the value is what property has already set, like get here and set it here. So if you have any question, you can still let me know. So I will try and what did I just do? Okay, ls flick 8. I think I will still have to stop this because my battery is running out. Undefined name size, undefined name size. Okay, we have size undefined at 8, 23, 27, 25, 14. Let's see. Yep, it's not size, it is self, right? Sorry, it's not size, it is value. So this time around it's going to be value. And this place is going to be value. So now we are using a setter and we said self value, right? So if the value passed to this setter is int, so the value that we are passing into our this guy is what we are trying to validate, right? And then the value would try and see if it is less than this. If we validate the value very well, then we'll now pass it into our center size. So this one will be done first before even initializing this. So once we start this, it's going to come here and say okay we want to run is a property getter. It's going to get this size for this size, right? And then it's going to say okay let us try and validate what value is coming in for it, and then assign it here, and then it's going to initialize it here. So that's basically what this place is doing. So let us try again. So let us git add 4. Maybe after this I would stop, and once the light is back we'll try and fix it. We'll try and continue. I'll try and continue because my battery is getting low. I have 14 minutes left. And I have sore throat kind of. Stop making me talk well. Okay, so it worked, and yes, basically that's it, and I'll see you next. Okay, so let's ask for correction for this, and let's go to the next one. So this one is based on 4 square.py. I'm having cough, so I can't really talk for long without trying to cough. So let me copy 4 and paste it into 5 kind of. So let's vi 5 based on that. So what do we want to do now? So write a class square that define a square based on this, and that's this private instant attribute. We're going to have an instant attribute size, which is this. We've done that. Okay, so property. So we're gonna have property which is going to be size self, right? To retrieve it, it's going to retrieve this size, right? That's the getter, and then we have a setter for it to set it. It's going to set that value for it. Okay, the size must be an integer, and that's what we did here. And the size must be, if size is less than zero, it should raise value error as well. And with this message, okay, and then we initialize whatever size should be to be the value, right? Good. um so define init self size. So this is the init that we did here at first, okay, which is this public instance. So we're going to have this area returns the current area of the circle, so this one, and then now public instance method. So we're going to have this one now. This is the last one. We're gonna my print that prints in standard the square with the character. So it's going to print square with character hashtag. So we're going to try and print how the square would look like. So if we have a square that is 3, so it's going to be 3 3. If we have empty, I think dash dash. If we have 10, it's going to print 10 10, and so on. And I think this one's at 0 dash dash. Okay, so basically that's what we want to do now. So I'll come down to the end, come to the new line, and then let me just paste it. Let me give it a blank line there. Okay, and let me delete that. So I'm going to want to document this, and it says print representation of square with this character, and then I'll end it that way. Okay, so now what we want to do is, the major thing we have is the size, which is a private instance attribute. Okay, so firstly I would say what I would do is, if I want to print this line, right, I would say for maybe an alphabet in the length of this, if it is 3, so it's going to, and then I'll print it 3 times, right? So that's what I'll first do. So I'll say for item in range, and the range will now be self dot sorry, now be self dot underscore size. Okay, so good. So what do we want to do here? So for here, we want to kind of print, the character hashtag hash. So this time it's going to print hash hash hash, right? And what we want to do, what I'm going to do is, I would say come on. Instead of ending with a new line, because print comes with a new line, I would say the end should not have anything. Okay, so so while it prints the first character, right, while it prints, so it's going to print this guy, right? So while printing that, we could also say so we'll say what's wrong with me? So for j in range, and then we'll have another size, self dot size. Okay, so this would, then I would end this like this. So so I'm printing this. So basically, if I let me just tell you what I'm doing.
if I run Python 3, right, and I say let's say we have a value which is 3, right, or a size which is 3, right, and I say um for item in range size is 3, right, range of size, and I say you should print you should print this, you should print um I think we made a mistake somewhere. Yeah, for item in this, print hash. So it prints it this way, 1 2 3. So I want it to then print, so to print it this way, 1 1 1. So if I try it again, right, and I said comma end it with um like this, so you see that it prints it this line, right? So we just need to find a way to repeat the printing. So um at the first instance it will print hash. It's going to go for the second one, and because print has a new line, it's going to print it on the next line. So we just eliminate the new line, so it's going to print it side by side, like this, like this, like this. So that's what we did here. So now we need to make it 3 and then 3. So we'll be able to do this, which remains this line, this new line. So what do we do? So each time it prints, once it's done printing each line, right, we now want it to look for this guy in the range of size. So it's going to print it 3 times again. So if we do like this, for this and this, for item in range size, right, and then we say print this. So I put this one in a kind of list. So, and I will say, so it's printing that, and then once it prints the first line, that first line for, let's say for j in range, and then we have our size as well, okay, and then we'll end it. So you can see that we have it printing it this way. So this none, I really don't know why it's printing this one, but basically this is what we wanted to print, and that's why we're doing that. And at the end we can add a print. So that's it. So let's exit out of this and go back into our script. I think we are good with that. And then the next thing I'm going to take care of is, I would say, once we are done printing that, right, you should just print a new line, because at the end it wasn't printing a new line the other time. So we'll print a new line. And what else? Um, we can then say if, I think this one should have been at the top, if self dot size is equals to 0. So if the size is 0, then it should just put our indentation. It should just print. It should just print a new line. So let me copy. Let me cut this too, and I'm supposed to paste it here first. No, paste it here. So if cells of sizes, you should print this. But if not, you should continue with this. So that is what we do. So if set is equal to 0, print an empty line. You're not allowed to print input anymore. So um so that is that on that. Should we test it first? Let me first see if I didn't make error in the code. Okay, good. So since I didn't make error, we could test it to see 5 main.py. So vi 5 main.py. Wait, I hope it arranges it for. Okay, it did. So we have it correct here, and that's what we want to do. And I guess oh, that just added 5 main.py instead of um, so let me just put git ignore everything there. So you should not push on main.py and git hey, sorry. So once we push it, we check for the code and see if it is correct. What's going on? This is showing that it's not seeing the 5 square. It status 5 square is not added. It add 5 square. I thought it was added. It commit 5 square. Push. So let's back again. Okay, good. So I think that's that for this. So maybe we should go to the next one. Okay, this is the last one for mandatory. So I think after this I would stop and take a break and continue again. All right, so write a class called based on this. So we just copy the name like we did and continue our work. 5 square to so vi our 6 square now. Yeah, so what do we want to do now? Write a square that you parentheses. So private instance article size property. We've done this. We've done this. We've done up to this point, right? So now let's go to the next point. So we have a private instant attribute position. So we're gonna have position here, and As you can see, we have the instantation here, which is for position. So we're going to copy this guy and paste it here. So this is our new init. Let me delete this. Okay, so we have that. So we have a new guy here. So we have set the position. Self dot, is it private? I think so. Is it private or public? Private instant attributes. Private instant attribute position. So it is private. So position, property. So we're going to set property for position as well. So this one will give it position. Okay, so let me give it a space, and then we'll get setter, getter, and setter for position. So I'll come here and let me just add something here. Sorry, setter and for position. Right. So what we do is say add property and then self at property, sorry, and then we'll define position. To define position, and then we'll define position, and it's going to have self, and we'll say it is the getter for position, and then what would it do? It's just going to return it's going to return self dot position. So basically this is it, and then now we'll go to the next one, which is the setter. So it's going to be at position dot setter, and then define position, same thing, but this time around we'll have self and we'll have value. Right, so we want to set the value for this. The setter for position. So we have that, and then what do we do? So now, what are the things that we need to set for position? It must be a tuple of two positive integer, otherwise raise type error. So we have to check if it is a tuple for two positive integer. So what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do is I'll say if, and I'll say if not is instance, right? So I'll first check if the value is a tuple. Okay, value comma tuple, right? And then or maybe the length. I think for this one I have to just take it back a bit and give it one line here, or the length of value, right, is less than equals is not equal to 2 rather, or or uh, not all is instance um, number comma int. For number in value, for number in value, or 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 mm, not all number is greater than equal to 0 for number in value. So I'm going to explain this part to you guys. So the next thing is, if not, then raise a type error, raise a type error and say the position must be to put positive integers. So now, or two positive integers, and then at the end, if so, then we initialize it with self the private position is equals to value. Okay, so good. So what we want to do is, we want to set the for position, right? And position is accepting two parameters. It's accepting value, and it's accepting number, right? So we are giving it value and number. Okay, so size position define size position. So position is accepting two parameters, right? So now we said that we represent the two parameters as value here, right? So if the value is not a tuple, right, or the length of value is not equal to 2, right? So where is it? Must be tuple of two integers. So it has to be two integers, okay? Or the number, the int, what is the type of result? In order not to waste our time, I did this task and I figured out that we made an error just here by making this guy private. Okay, so we have to make it just a public instance. um, that's all. Not a public, not a private instance attribute. Like you have to make that attribute public. Okay, so it's only for this guy that will make it private. That is for this guy, for the getter and setter. So we created a. It's the same thing like I did. Okay, except that where is it? Yes. So except that we first for this one, we if the size is zero, we print an empty line and return. And for the positioning talks about these spaces that we print. Okay, so we'll print space for every position we get at that first position. That is that if it is two item, the first number, right? And then we print the line as well for the left. Okay, so we print that for that. And I think this activate key is blocking the way. Okay, so then we print the normal hash that we print for every size that we have in we print hash for k in this, and that will print it. So for area, will return the size times size. For position, we return self the position, which is the private. And for this setter, we return this. And if not that, if it is not stoppable, okay, so we check if the value that we are passing to initializing, if the value is not stoppable, or the value is not two words, or the value is not an int, or the value or the number, that is the numbers inside they are not integers, or the number is greater than equal to or the number is not greater than equal to zero rather. So we should raise a type error saying position must be a tuple of two integers. And basically that's it. And if we run this, so let's scroll up again. What else? And then yes, so we do for property. I think we've done this before, and so I just replace them, and basically that's it. Sorry. So if you have any question, let me know. If you would like to see where the GitHub, you can always check for Ola Guru on GitHub, and hopefully we'll get a crypto tech or that GitHub very soon. And yeah, so basically that's it, and I would see you. So let us exit this, but before that, let me remove the empty lines. So I've removed it, and I'll get pushed, and it worked. So that's for correction. Then let's open this. Okay, so let's open the advanced. Okay, so we have four more to go. This is a singly linked list, right? So we are creating a class for it. So the first thing I'll do is, I think this one is separate, it's not from pre-existing ones. So I'll copy this 100 this and paste it here. Okay, so the next thing is create my user binary python 3, a linked list op module. Okay, and then we'll give it two spaces and third space. So we'll have a class. So it says write a class node that defines a node of a singly list. So we say a node. So a class node that defines a node for a singly list. Good. So the next thing is would have the init of it. So we'll define underscore init, and the init will have self, and what will it accept? To accept, let's see, I think we'll be given to accept all this. So let us just copy this guy. Yeah, so we have this. So the instantation method. The instantation method. Self dot data equals to, so we'll create self dot data. As you can see, we have data instantation with data and next node. So we have data and next node. So we have self dot data, which would be the data, right? And we have the self dot next underscore node, which should be the next node. So we're done with this. So we have a property, setup property. Where is it? Private instant attribute for data. So we'll do for data. So we'll set property for data and say at property, and then we define data, and it takes self, and that's all. And then it will return, let me document this, the getter for data. So it will go and get the data, so to get the data parameter and set it to this. So to set a private one. So this one will be the public one, this one will be the private one. So I think that's the major thing there. So we return where is it? Return self dot underscore data. Good. So then the getter method. So the setter, that's getter. The setter will now be data dot setter, right? So we define data, and then it will collect two arguments, self and value. Self and value, and then we say the setter to validate the data parameter. Okay, so we'll do that, and then we would now do what is told about it. So we'll self to retrieve it, property setter this to set it. Data must be an integer or otherwise, so we'll just make sure it's not. So we'll say if not, sorry, think we're not done. So if not is instance, I will check for the value. If the value is not an integer, okay, so we raise a type error. We raise a type error that says where's the type error? Data must be an integer. If not, we just must be an integer. Data must be an integer, and I think we are good this way. So after that, we'll then initialize it. Then say um, self dot data equals to value. This one I'll put the quotes. So I think we're good here. Let me move this extra line. So next thing is we'll define a property getter and setter for next node. So we'll say at property define. I think we have it next node. So let me just type it. Next node, and then it will take self. Close it. Then we document. We say the getter for next node. So the next one, so we have an initial the data, right, and then the next node. Okay. So this one is like to insert into a single index. Okay. The getter for next node, and then 1 2 3, and then we'll say so what are the things that we're supposed to do for this one? Okay, now this one will just return. So we should just return self and the private next underscore node. So we have the setter. So we have the at next node dot setter. Then we define the next node, and then the self and the value. So we want to validate the value. Good. So the next thing is we'd say yeah, we should indent that. So we said next node can be none or must be a node. Otherwise waste. Okay, it can be none. So if it is not null, so we'll just say if value is not none and not if it's not a node, right? And not is instance, right? The value is not a node. Then you should raise a type error. Must be none or must be a node, otherwise raise a type error. So next node must be a node object. Copy and paste. Why is it disappearing? Alright. Is it okay? It's replacing instead of inserting. Okay, so I think we're good with that. Then we need to initialize it. So back, and we say self dot next node is equals to value. So I think that's that. So then write a class singly linked list that define a singly linked list by. So we have to write another class singly linked list inside. So come down and come down. So I think 2 spaces should be enough. So the third space now should write a class single linked list. Okay, so in class single linked list, so I'll document this. A class linked list. So we'll have a class single linked list and then we'll define its init. So private instance attribute is going to have a private instance attribute, no setter or getter. So it's going to have an instance attribute called head, which is private. Okay, so we define this. Yes, so this would be the getter. So do we need to indent here? Yes. So I'll say this one is the instantation or initialization. So the single linked list itself will have an head, which would be an instance attribute head. So we'll say self dot head is equals to head. So we'll do that, or is equals to no set of get a private instance attribute. So it's equals to none because that's the default. So because there's nothing passing being passed here. So I think there's no setter or getter for it. So good should be printed print the entire in standard output. So um should be printable. Print the entire list in standard output once node number by one. Public instance method. So we'll create a method called this, and so it should be printable. Print the entire list in standard output one number by line. So we'll do this printing, and then we'll do this guy over here. So that's basically what we want to do. So the next thing is we'd say define. So we need to define this sorted. So we'll sort it. This one is just to make sure that our entire list is printable, and then we'll do that with a special function called str. Okay, but before we do that, let us first define this, a public method. So this one is, why is it not indenting? So it is a public instant method insert a node that inserts a new node. So this one will insert a new node, insert a new node into the correct sorted position in the list increasing order. So this one would be a bit complex. So what we'll do is we'd say a new, we'll create a new, and then we'll say the node. Right, we create a new node and give it value. Okay, so a node would have value. So basically that's it, and then we'll say if the head is none. So we'll check if the head is none. So if the self dot head initially is none, so we want to put it at the first position, right? So if the head is none, then the new dot next node. So make sure the next node of the new is none, of dot next node is going to be none, right? And then we'll say the self dot head will now be new. Okay, so the new node will be the head and the ending will be null. Okay, so that's for the first instance. Else, if the self dot head, that's if the head, so else if the head dot data is now greater than the value. If the data is greater than the value, then the new node, the new dot next node data, next, if the new dot next underscore node, the new dot next node would be equals to self dot head. So it will be the head, and then self dot head would equals to new. So here we said that if the data of the head, so if we have a head here, right, if the data of the first one is greater than the data of what we want to insert, right, so the next node would be, if it is greater, that is the normal, the new one, the new next node, right, the next, so we'll put the head at the end of that new node. Okay, so and then the self dot head, the head is now equals to the new one. Okay, so we pass it like that, and then we'll have one last statement here, and we'll say else. So here it's going to get a bit complicated. I will say we'll create a temporary, so we have to iterate to save at the temporary, insert it, and put that temporary at the tail. So say self dot head, okay, self dot head, and then I will say while the temporary next node, that is the temporary, so we'll put the head inside temporary, right, so we don't want to tamper with the original list. Okay, so now temporary is now the main guy, the head now, so we now iterate through temporary while temporary, that is the next node, is not null. So if it is not null, and let me come to a new line and then put a tab, and yeah, and then tmp, and the temporary next node, next underscore node, the data is less than value, like we have. Okay, so if it is less than value, then we want to make temporary equals to temporary next node. So we'll go to the next one. So if the data is less than value, we want it to be greater than value. So if it is less than value, we would reset temporary to be temporary next node. Okay, so until it is less than. So now if it is less than, we'll then say the new dot next node. If it is, it will come down here. The new dot next node, yes, next node would be equals to temporary dot next node. Okay, and then now temporary next node is there. Then now the temporary dot next node will be equals to the name. Okay, so you can draw a sketch out of this to do this. And then the next thing is, I think here, we're here, right? Okay, good. So the next thing is we'll create the str I was talking about, str underscore. This one will print the string representation of the, and it's going to take self by default. And I'll say the um the method that prints the list or string rep of the what's the object. Yes, so now we'll say the value, right? The values will have values, right? And we'll create a values, and it's going to be an empty list. So I'll put that equals to, so we'll create an empty list called values. I will create a temporary, so we have to iterate through everything and append it inside the values. So a temporary is a self dot head. Okay, so we'll say while the temporary is not none, that's when we want to print something. And then we'll say the values, right? The values dot append, will convert it to string because it's a string representation. And then we'll create tmp dot data, and then we'll move to the next guy. So, and then what we'll do is we say tmp is equals to tmp dot next underscore node. So we'll keep pushing, and then once it's done, as far as it's not null, so once it gets none, it will just return a new line. So we can do that, return a new line and join it with values. A new line and join it with values. Okay, so I think that's that for that. Flake 8 and 100. So let us see the errors we have. This was never closed at 2119. VI 100 2119. Yes, we didn't close it here. I think it's because of that replace that we have in game. Let's check again. Expect an indented block after function on line 25 because it's not indenting for us properly. I think 25. Why? I didn't get the statement. Let me. Expected an indented block after function definition at line 25. So let me see. Okay, so I think it's this one. Line 30. So the thing, it wasn't indenting actually. So I had issues with that. So what else? The blank line at end of So at 68 blank line 68 1. So I think we're correct up to this point. That's the end. Oh, okay. So I've removed it. So we should be fine now. So we're fine. We can actually check it by running this guy over here. 100 mean that P1 for 100 for everything that starts with 100. You see 100 star. So we've execute that and 100 mean that P1. So we have -4, -3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. It arranged it and inserted it wrong. So good. Okay, so let's add 600. What's it called? Single linked list. Git commit 100 single linked list. Git push. And then we'll try that. Doesn't push down. Can't you push, Mr. Man? Just pushed. So I think we're up to the next one if this one works. So this one worked and we'll go to the next one. So print square instance. Right, so this is another class, and backcode. Okay, so I think I'm almost done. Well, it's a lot of work. Um, let's create this. So vi this call this one user binary Python 3. So what does it say? It says that write a square that defines a square based on based on 6 dots. So we'll get back to 6 dots. And what's this on 101, right? So I'll just say copy 6 square into 101 square dot py and vi 101 square dot py. So I think that should make it easier for us. So what do we need to add here? So write a square, private instance attribute size, retrieve this. I think we've done all this. Printing a square instance should be the same as my print. So I think we just want to print a square instance without using my print. Okay, so we just want to add that, I guess. I think that's the major thing we need to do here. So I'll calm down. This is line 59. And then we just need to, let me just copy this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 10. So I'll copy it. Oh, sorry. And then I want to paste it here. My print self. Okay, so now so this one I'll change it to my underscore stl. Okay, print the public instance method. So this one is a string representation. String representation of the square. Right. So basically that's it. And then if size is, so what do we need to do here? If size is equal to 0, print an empty line. If size is equal to 0, print an empty line. Okay, public insert method that returns the current square area. Yes. Okay, print a square instant that have the same data as my print. You're not allowed to import an image. So I think basically it's the same thing that we are doing. I think that it's, let me push this first and see. It's add one. It commits one and it push. I think that's it, but if it's not, then I would find something else. Didn't I push it? Oh, it just pushed it. Okay, some worked and some didn't work. Anyway, let me see. We are 101 squared up P1. So what I would do is I would say I would change everything and say if size is equal to 0, you should print. But if it is not equal to 0, if size is not equal to 0, then you should do this one. So let me remove all this. So we want to print this. So print for I in range 0, self dot position 1 more. Yeah, correct. So for I in range 0, self. So I in range. So self dot size, correct. Print this, and for item in range 0 to self position, correct. Print this, yes, for k in range 0 to self position, correct. Yes. And then what else? So we then say I can then put and say if I is not equals to self dot size, okay, minus 1, you should just print an empty line. Print an empty line and then return this. So if the item of this self, each item, each for I in range self, so it's going to go and see if that number is not equal to self minus 1. So I think this one will print up to, let me see, is it the same thing as the previous one? No, this one has extra, as you can see. So it's using the print. Once you use print, it's using is this str function that is in charge of print. Okay, so let me try this. Let me first add it add, or maybe because I didn't change the mode. 7551. It's definitely different though. So I think it should work now. Oh, it's even spelled it. Okay, so let me see. Um, let's see. So we have it, and it says divide SQL self. Each self the size is not equal to zero. Print. This one does not have indentation. I think we are supposed to even test it. And then for I is this, and let me check again. Let me even run flick 8 on it. So would have seen any error. Okay. It add 1 on 1. It commit 1 on 1. It push. I'll just check it again. Okay, we still having the same error. Okay, so we let me just test these guys. 101 in the PI. Okay. Okay, so we are wrong. We didn't do it well. So VI 101 being the PY. So let me try, it's printing that. So let me try my square dot, what's this square called, my print dot my underscore print. So that one printed well. It printed well, but this one still prints nonsense. So let me see VI 101 square to see what I'm really doing wrong here. So we said if the size is not equal to 0, you should print for I in range 0 self position 1. Okay, and then for I in range, I don't think this matters, 0 to self the position 1. Yes. So for I in range 0 dot position, and then it should print any space, and for item in range 0 to self position self, and it should print hash for k in range 0 to self position size if I is not equal to self the size minus 1 print. So why is it not working? or let me say this return is supposed to be here. Let's try it. Okay, I think that's the problem. Okay, so let me get add it again. Let's push that. So okay, so that wait. We have one error. So I think that's flip 8 or pepcode style. Let me see. Yeah, it is pipecode style. Let me use pipecode style 101 square. So what's wrong? So why? So what's going on here? What's going on? What's going on? Yes. This is pipecode style. Missing white space after keyboard 101 square 70 15. VI 101 square 70 70 what? 15 missing white space after keyboard. White space after keyboard. Do you need a white space here? I don't understand. If there's white space here, this one would complain definitely. Yes. Or is there a white space here? No. Yes. I don't know what is wrong with 101 square. It says it's up to date. That is, we didn't change anything. Missing a white space after keyboard. 217. So what does this mean? The white space after keyboard. Let me see. VL101. It's still the same thing. Are you serious? But what does this mean? Let us just check ChatGPT. But I'm still trying to see what is wrong here. It's taking that time. Square underscore the PY. I'm still trying to see what is wrong. Man, what's going on here? What's going on here? Okay. My internet, my system, everything is okay. What is wrong here? missing one space after keeper from park will indicate that there is a missing space after keyword in your Python code. This usually occurs after such if else. Okay, so there's a missing space. Oh, I didn't put a space after keyword. That's the English. See, it's good to go to school. Why can't this nonsense guy complain about it? So I think that's it. Okay, so it has worked and there's also correction. So the next one and then the last one. So this one is 4 squared of py, 102 squared of py. So I'll copy this. Vi sorry, copy. And then vi 102. Okay, so what do we do here? So it says write a square that defines a square. Are we printing string here too? Okay, so write a square that defines a square based on this. And then private instance attribute define size. I think we've done this size, we've done this, we've done this, we've done area. So square instance can answer to comparison. So we have to write there's a comparison that comes with OOP based on square area. So we can use it to compare to see if an area is greater than 1, if it is equal to 1 with OOP. And those special function comes with their double underscore equal, less than, all that. So basically we'll start by defining the first one, which is for equal to. Okay, so define an equal, it is eq. So this one will answer to equal to, and to collect self and the other function. So it says define the equal comparison of the square area. Define the equal comparison of a squared area. Okay, and then you should just return the so it's going to have, this one will have the first one and then the second object. So say self dot area, which is the first area, and then it could be compared with the equal to the other dot area, right? And that's it. So we use the area function, we compare the area function to see if they are equal to each other. So we'll just copy this to the, or let me say, let's copy the 4. Oh yes, we've copied it, and let me paste it there. You know what, let me copy from here. So so 1 2, so we have 1 2 3 4 5 6, so 6 times. We'll paste it 6 times. Sorry. One, two, three. 4 5. I think it's up to 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, it's up to 6. So so we've done for the equal to. We'll do for the not equal to. I think not equal to be NT. ne rather, not equal to, and define the not equal comparison, and this one will not be not equal, right? So that will be for the second one, and the third one will be greater than. So greater than would have GT, and we'll say for the greater than, and this one will be greater than. So let me put a space here, greater than, and then this one would be after greater than we have greater than equal to. I think that should be GE, greater than equal to, and then this one will be for the greater than equal to. So this one will now be greater than equal to, and then we'll have for after greater than equal to we have the less than. So less than should be LT, less than, self equal, and we have less than, and we have this one should be and then this one will be after less than we have less than equal to, less than, that should be LE, and then this one less, and then this one will be less than equal to. So I think we're done with this, and let me just git add it. Let me just check. So it worked, and yes. So the last but not the least is this bytecode interpretation. And write a Python class called magic class that does exactly what the following bytecode. So interpreting bytecode is a bit simple and also not too simple. So magic class. So this one would be called one of the managers. VI this. And then I'll have this one called user binary Python 3. Python 3. So magic interpretation. So next thing is I'll put two spaces and then call this one class. I think it's called magic class. And then a class for the byte code interpreted. Yes, so we'll have an init definitely. So define an init, and then the init would be what? Self and what? So the first thing we check is um, it's loading oneself. So it's loading the margin class, and there's a radius. Load fast a radius keyword per call function fast. So there's a radius which is 0, and then I would do this and then say magic class with the radius as a parameter. So say magic class with the radius as a parameter. So good, and then we say self. So we have a is it a private instance? There is not radius type radius position. So we have a type radius must be a number. You have to make sure that the radius is a number. And let me see. Yes. So it says self dot radius equals to initialize it with 0, and so we just have to see. So we don't have a setter and getter for this, so we'll do that inside our init and say if the type, we can use his instance as well, or the type of radius, we can also say the type of radius. If radius type is not int and the type of radius is not float, so we'll check if it is not int. So we'll check if type of radius is not integer or float. Okay, so we'll check that and we'll say it's not float. Let me just confirm if my audio is still recording. Okay, it's still recording. So if it is not int and is not float, then we'll raise a type error. We'll raise a type error and say radius must be a number. Radius must be a number. As it is here, radius must be a number. So we'll raise that, and at the end we'll initialize it. So we'll say self dot is equals to radius equals to radius. Then we define a area as we saw somewhere. Where's that area? So area and circumference. So we create an area and circumference. So I think basically this one is what we've done here. So to define area, we have a self, okay, and then we just calculate the area using pi, right? They use maths function though, they import maths and they use pi directly. So they import the math function, use pi. We can do without math function as well. So I will say define area, and area takes in self, right? And then the area of the circle, I think it's circle. So this one is not complete. And then the area will just be returned. We need to put space there, and we'll say it should return self radius, right, times raised by 2, right, and then times by, it is pi r square. So we'll say math dot pi. So we can import pi here, or from math import pi, and we just, instead of math, it's supposed to be math, not Matthew. So you can just say import math or just math. So it is pi r square. So this one is r square times pi, and that's it. And yes, so we'll go to the next one, and that one defines circumference of the circle. Define circumference of the circle. The circumference of a circle. Okay, actually, it loaded math before using pi, so we could just say import math and then use pi, or we could do it this way as well. So I just want to do it the way it's done. So let me just cancel this and say import math, and this one will now be math.pi, since we are interpreting and we have to interpret well. So you can leave it like that, and then this one would be okay. So this one will now be return
Uncle Dapo. My mommy said that you have bread. Bread.
to circumference of a circle. So return to, so this one will be 2 times math 2 pi r square, right? Or 2
Mommy.
times self dot radius. Two times math dot pi times self dot radius. Yes, so I think we are good that way. But let me add it and see. So we are correct until the last one. And let me just use my checker to check. It's the part Pycode style. So flag 8103. Blank line at the end of okay, I have a blank line now. So I'm waiting for it. Push now. Why isn't that pushing it? Okay, so okay, so it's worked and that's it. So if you have any questions so far, you can let me know. Sorry about the time and everything. Yeah, see you guys.